Hello folks, Captain Glenn here. Thank you for joining me for another edition of Captain Glenn's Treasure Chest of Wisdom and Knowledge, where I try and give you more good, free content than anyone else. The name of today's podcast is Bass Fishing. Bass fishing is one of the most common types of fishing. Many bass fish are found in bayou waters and salt waters. They also move through lakes, ponds, reservoirs, and streams. If you know the basics regarding conditions and places where bass are likely to be, you will have more success when you fish for them. Many variables change the location of bass, such as water conditions, water levels, weather, and light and food availability. There are three main elements that must be present in a body of water in order for bass to survive: food, oxygen, and cover. A bass's favorite meal is crawfish, which they prefer over shad. Basically, crawfish are usually more plentiful, and they're easy for the bass to catch. However, a bass will typically eat anything from rats, mice, ducklings, frogs, snakes, salamanders, worms, lizards, grubs, bait fish, insects, and leeches. Their ability to feast on one thing above another is why many people find such enjoyment from fishing for bass. Oxygen is another key component in finding bass fish. A basic rule of thumb is that the cooler the water, the more oxygen content there'll be. Therefore, if you're fishing in the spring, summer, or early fall, you will find that the larger bass will drop down lower to find the cooler and more oxygen-filled water. They will also swim to find areas that are more concentrated in vegetation in order to find a better oxygen source. Trees, stumps, wind-blown banks, and power plants are all good sources of oxygen that will attract bass fish. A bass relies on cover for a means of protection and a way of ambush. Cover is part of the bass's survival. The bass is known as a lazy fish, so they will hide and wait for the prey to come to them. The other reason for cover is that bass fish do not have eyelids, and the cover is a way to prevent blindness. Some common cover areas to find bass in are around fabricated wood structures, such as fence rows, docks, and pilings. They have been known to hide under floating pieces of wood or decaying wood. Weeds are the second best place to hunt for bass. And finally, rocks are the third place that bass will find cover. Rocks are not as reliable as weeds or wood, but sometimes a bass will find decaying pieces of food to feast on within some rocks. Remember that rocks do not produce oxygen, so the source is not as consistent. When it comes to fishing, everyone has different opinions. You will often find that these opinions range in location and source. However, there are some lures and baits that are recommended for bass fishing that may be useful if you haven't tried them. One of them is the tequila or light gold-colored 7-inch worm with added scent. Then there's the tilapia-like bionic gnarled wiggle fishing lures, and the new and amazing lifelike, self-swimming, self-propelling, rechargeable, artificial lifelike lure. If you haven't seen them, you need to, because they're really cool. Hill grommets are thought to be the best live bait, and many will say that you don't need big lures to attract big bass. However, everyone will tell you to tie up to an embankment or find a dock or get close to, but it is really an art that could take years to perfect. Bass are notorious for slow moving and lack of distance in their movements. Logically, you could sit 30 feet from the largest bass of your life, and he's not going to swim to your bait just out of pure laziness. Finding the exact spot is difficult, and a lot of fishing has to do with luck. The only part that you can control is finding the most likely places that a bass may be, and then exercise some patience. Weather is important to bass as well. If it's a cloudy day, you might have more luck than on a hot summer day. However, overcast is probably ideal for water temperatures, but then you have to decide what you're willing to sit through in order to catch a fish. But the bottom line with bass fishing is that you can only do your best with the knowledge at hand. Well, folks, that's it for today. If you like today's podcast, please say so in the comments, as well as leave any questions you may have, or if you just need someone to discuss things with, I'm your guy. Don't forget to subscribe to our channel by hitting that click here button down in the lower right-hand corner of your screen. And one more thing, please remember to hit that bell-shaped thingy. By doing so, you will be alerted each time we release a new video or podcast. And I know you don't want to miss that. So, we also have placed a link in the description area, possibly below this video, depending on where you're watching it. But that link leads you to the sign-up page for our bi-weekly drawing for the $200 shopping spree giveaway extravaganza at the fishingforreal.com online fishing, camping, and hiking superstore. Don't forget to like our page, #fishingforreal.com on Facebook, and make sure you ask to join our special Facebook group, the fishingforreal.com VIPs. There you can keep abreast of when the winner will be announced live on Facebook. Well, that's it for now. Thank you for listening. This is Captain Glenn signing off until next time. God bless, have a great day, and I will see you at the top. Good night, everybody.